Okay, so second tutorial on Maya basics. We can keep on going with the folder that you have, with the handout that you have in the PDF. I'm gonna go in this tutorial through the idea of manipulating objects and organizing a workflow. Okay, so let's create a few objects in the scene. So as I said, you can create the objects by using the marquee menu, Shift right mouse button, and you start getting the usual polygons here. You will find them here, or you can go into a shelf and start getting some polygons. Okay, as well you can go under create polygon primitives and choose some of them. Okay, so I do some primitives. So I can start with the sphere and holding shift to get the proportion of these. Then I'm gonna get the cone, and I'm gonna get a cube. Again, I hold shift to get the cube, which has the same size. Okay, I'm gonna turn on the wireframe unshaded, which I kind of like it, so I can see a bit more. I'm gonna start showing you how you can select objects. Okay, so basically you can just click in any object and you will select any of them. When you hold shift, you get the dual selection. So basically you add or deselect objects. You can drag and you can select all of them, and always one of them it will be the wireframe will be green. That means this is the object that it has been selected, the last one, and it will import them, because some tools, when you're doing boolean subtraction, you need to say to the software which one was the second one. It has to be subtracted. Okay, so as I said, with shift is a toggle selection, so you select or deselect. When you drag and you hold shift, basically you're inverting the selection, so everything which is selected, it won't be selected, and vice versa. When you hold control and shift, you get this plus, so basically you are always adding selection. When you hold only control, you are deselecting objects. Okay, all these shortcuts you have it here. Okay, so you can take a look to the handout and you will find everything. Again, in the toolbox, we can go also through the toolbox, and as I told you in the tutorial before, you have some main tools like select, which is the Q, as you can see here, move, which is W, rotate is E, and scale is R. You can see here W, E, and R. And most of the icons in Maya, when you place your mouse on top of that, after a while I will give you some kind of indication how you can use it. Okay, so if I select any object, with Q is selection, W is move, and you see the manipulator, E is rotate, R is scale. Talking about this manipulator, usually it's in the center of the object, but you can change that. So basically what you can do is you can hold D like Denmark, and then you can just get the manipulator and move it somewhere else. Okay, in order to center this, you can go under modify, center pivot, and this it will go to the center. Okay, this pivot point, it looks always different, so when you press Q there is nothing. With move you get these manipulators, so you can move in some of these directions by holding any axis. You can move it free when you hold it from the center, or you can move it in one plane by selecting this kind of square. Basically you are moving in these two planes when you select this one. Good. Same for rotate. Rotate has one more axis, so basically you can rotate in this axis, in this one, or this one is perpendicular to the camera. Okay, and scale, the same thing. You can scale in one direction, you can scale in any direction, you can scale in one plane. Okay, I'm gonna undo. Control Z is always undo. Good. Press move. What if I move the pivot point? I can place it here, but what if I want to snap this pivot point to one corner? In order to snap, you have here the snapping things, so you can click on them and select them, so you see how the manipulated change. But I don't recommend you this thing, guys, so uncheck this thing. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna hold D, which is the one how you can move this thing, and then hold at the same time V, like victory, or for now on let's call it FAU, so there is no mistake, or there is no kind of problem between D and V. So D and FAU all together. So you see when I press V, FAU, this one it gets automatically checked, and if I release V, this one is not checked anymore. So D and FAU, and then I try to snap this vertex to any of these corners. Okay, so in that case, now I have the pivot point here. So if I rotate, it will rotate around this point. Okay, if I want to center again, modify, center pivot. As you can see here, I have a shortcut. This shortcut you can do it under Windows, setting preferences, hotkey editor, and the only thing that you need to do is you need to look for the name of the command and just type it here. You will see it takes a while always to pop up this menu. It's coming here. So basically now you type center pivot, and you will see. So then you need to click here, hold the keys that you need to do it. You want to do it, and then Control C, and then say save. Sometimes now it's saying hotkey settings have been saved, but in your case, it will say that it's already assigned to another command. Say override to say yes, and then save and close. Okay, so Control C, center pivot. With D, I can move it. D and V, I can snap it to any vertex. Also, I can snap it to some vertices here. Okay, so when you do D and V, be careful that when you drag it, D and V, you don't drag any of these things, because otherwise you are rotating the pivot point. Okay, so D and V, and aim for the center, for the yellow point in the center. Okay, let's do a little exercise. So basically, we can change it. Imagine that here I don't have any vertex in the bottom of the cone. If I do D and V, I can drag it not from the center but only from one axis, and then snap to the height of these ones. So now the pivot point will be in the bottom of this cone. Okay, so you just can snap only to one direction. Okay, center pivot, Control C, and then let's do a little exercise. D and V, snap it there. Now if I want to move this thing, I can move it like that, but if I hold V, I'm going to snap to any vertex. So you see, it's recognizing the vertices of any object. So that's how the cone, it can snap to the vertices. So let's do like a small thing. So just try to get the cone and then move it, hold V, and snap it to one vertex. So try to get something like that. Okay, I mean, these D and V, and the snapping and moving the pivot point is something that you're gonna need a lot in Maya. So it's better to practice a little bit. Good, let's try to follow these things. So selection mask, we can have more than one type of objects. So I create only polygon modelings, polygon model primitive, sorry, but you can also go into surfaces, and I can create a cylinder, which is a NUR surface. Okay, and also can create some curve. Here I can do like an EP curve, then select some points. When I finish, I press enter, then I have a curve. So I have several types of objects. How can I control what I have in the scene? There is something which is quite useful, which is called outliner, and you will find it under Windows, outliner, and you get this window. Usually I like to have it here, so just drag it until you get some blue line here, and you can release it, and you see that basically here is showing me everything I have in the scene. Be careful on the display, you have DAG objects only, so you have many things going around. Okay, so you can see we have the polygons, which have this icon, the nerves, which has different kind of icon, and we have curves together with the cameras, and they appear in this kind of a dark gray because they are switched up. Good. So once I have these things, I'm gonna show you the selection mask, which is the next thing. So basically we have this selection mask here. So if I release curves, when I drag a window, I'm not selecting curve. If I check curves but I release surfaces, when I drag a window, I'm only selecting surfaces. I can be more specific and say, look, no, I don't want to have curves, I want to have surfaces, but right mouse button, I don't want to have poly surfaces. So you see, the icon is changed already, and I'm only selecting NUR surfaces. Okay, the opposite, I can do not NUR surfaces and give me just poly surfaces and select these ones. Okay, good. Now that you have this thing, you can reset this thing by going under this little arrow here, and you say all objects on, and then the selection mask is gone. Good. I'm gonna try to follow this so we don't forget anything. This is also important. Is what I told you. Well, sometimes you are manipulating in Maya, sometimes everything gets lost because you're zooming quite a lot. So under view, you can use frame all, which is A. When you press A, you're framing everything you have in the scene, and when you have something selected, if you press F, you're zooming into a selection. Okay, A for framing all, F to zooming into a selection. Good. I'm gonna skip this, I'm gonna show this later, but I want to go and show you a little bit of center view. Is that what we saw before, how you hold D or D and V, snap points, channel box, layer editor, attribute editor. I will show you all this later. Now we're in the outliner, and I want to talk about hierarchy. Okay, I will go back to the previous step, but I think now that they show you the outliner, I think it's interesting that I show you these things. in Maya, basically, you can work with the objects, and that's what we did so far. So we are manipulating the object, scaling the object, rotating the object, like trying these things. But also you can work with groups. So every object has a pivot point, as you can see here, but they can group them. Why do I need to group them? Like, let's say that, by the way, you can select objects. Oh, sorry, I did something. You can select objects by selecting them here, okay, or selecting them in the viewport. Here with control, you can select more than one object, okay, or with shift, you can select also in a row all of them. Let's say that I select these objects and I want to rotate them. All of them, they are rotating according to the pivot point. If I want to rotate all of them into one group, what I can do is edit, group, okay. So when I'm grouping them, usually if I press 4, I go into wireframe, you will see that the new pivot point of the group is always in the origin, the 0, 0, 0 point. Now if I try to rotate, they are all rotating according to this point, okay. So you get this new group here in the outliner. You can open the group and you have all the objects in there, which still, I'm gonna press 6 to go to same mode. Is still you can manipulate all of them independently, but you can manipulate the group. You can rename it by double clicking here. You can say objects, whatever name you wanna put it, okay. So you can rename anything and you can keep everything organized. How do you dissolve the group? You can select the group, edit, and group. There is another way which I kind of like it better, which is here in the outliner with the middle mouse button. You can click on something and drag it, and you get always this square, which means you place it inside, or you get this line, okay. So I'm gonna move the cube outside. So now the cube is not part of the group anymore. I can do with the cone the same thing and move it outside. If I do this thing and you get the square, basically I'm dragging the cone inside the cube. What does it mean? I'm doing something which is edit parent. So it's not like a group. So you have one group which is holding all these objects, but there is no hierarchy between them. Here I have some hierarchy. So the cone is linked to the cube. So everything I do with the cube, the cone it will follow that. Okay. Again, you can unparent this thing by selecting the object and going under edit, unparent, or just middle mouse button, drag this thing somewhere outside. Watch out, this outside, and now it's not connected anymore with this. Okay, I'm gonna delete the NURBS because I'm gonna keep only the polygons to keep on showing you some things. If I drag outside the sphere, this group it will be empty. There is no plus anymore, and you can just go ahead and delete it. Good. So basically, that's the idea of the hierarchy. That's the idea of parents and group. Well, that's what I was explaining here. And there is something else that I want to show you, which is how to hide and show objects. So basically, here you see the cameras have this color, this kind of dark gray. This is because they are hidden. You can select any object and you can go to display, hide selection, which is Control H. Okay, you can show the last hidden selection, which is under display, show last hidden selection, Control Shift H, and we'll bring this thing. You can also do it again, Control H, hide any of these objects, and if I do Control Shift H, last hidden selection, it will show just this one. Okay, as you can see, like the cone, the letters is not white anymore, it's dark gray. So if I want to switch on this one, I can select this one and go under display, so selection, Shift H. So basically with Control H, you hide things, select this, and Shift H, you show them. Okay, make them visible again. You also can do like you can hide Control H, this one, and later this one, and you can go under mesh, display, show all. So everything will be visible, but also the cameras, and we don't want to see the cameras. The camera will be an icon, now but probably they're too far, so you don't see them. I'm gonna select them and then Control H, hide them. Good. So this is according to you have all the shortcuts also written here. This is according to a hierarchy and how you do groups, parents, the outliner, how you have this thing with the outliner. I'm gonna show you the attribute editor, layer editor, channel box. Okay. Let's continue with the channel box, which is the next thing. I can show you still with objects. And the channel box is this last icon here. And the cool thing of the channel box is that it is recording everything. I mean, you need to keep the history on, which is when you have this icon highlighted in blue. And by having this, basically Maya is recording everything you do. So the polycube, when we create it, we drag these values. Then I was scaling in one direction, so this is 1.03. Also, under inputs, I have everything what I did when I create the object. Okay, so if I move the scale to 1, which was the original, I can go back to this width, height, depth, and then I can resize this. I can say, look, I select the first one, select the last one, holding shift, and then press 3. Okay, so it has 3 units by 3 units by 3 units. I can just type in one of them and make it longer. I can add more divisions. I can select all of them by holding shift and say 3 divisions by 3 divisions. I can do more things, which is, if I don't select the number, if I select the name of this thing, with the middle mouse button in the screen, you go right, you increase values, you go left, you decrease value. Same for subdivision. You can hold shift, select this 3 of them, and then right mouse button you add, left mouse button to decrease subdivisions. Okay, quite useful. Also, once you do this, you can say, look, I'm going to rotate in y-axis, y is vertical, 45 degrees. Okay, so I do that, and then it's rotating 45 degrees. So you can start typing things here. I want to scale set value 1.5. Okay, so all these things you can start also typing here. Visibility, you can say the object is on or off. In this case, I wouldn't recommend you to do this thing. I recommend to use it here. I mean, it's kind of the same, but it's kind of better when you do it here. Okay, I mean, actually, when you do Control H, you see it kind of operates the same thing. It's faster when you do it with the outliner. Let's say that this is your status quo and you want to freeze all these values, because from now on you can say, look, I want to have half of the size. So what you can do is you can reset all these by using the freeze transformation. You have it under modify, freeze transformation, and what this does is converting all these in absolute values, zeros and ones. So you can go under freeze transformation, do it, and then you will see everything changed already. So let's say that now I want to have this half 0.5. I can start from that, and I know what angle I'm gonna move. If I'm gonna move this in this axis, in the x-axis, 3 units, I can move it 3 units. Okay, so it's quite convenient to use this outliner. Okay, today with this you can have also the layerator. Like everything that we're doing now, we see we have another command, so it will be record here. What I was saying is you have also a layerator, so you can create layers. You can say new layer. Okay, and then you can rename it, double click, you can say, I don't know, whatever, objects 01. Okay, so what you can do is you cannot start with a number. Okay, and you can also change the wireframe layer, the wireframe color. So you say save, and now nothing is in there, but you select the object, right mouse button, add selected object, and you will see that now the wireframe is turning into the color of the that you assign to the layer. Okay, you can now change the visibility, so you also can hide objects by layer, and you can put them into a wireframe render mode, so you cannot manipulate them or just free them. Okay, I can empty the layer also, so the object will become blue because now it's on the layer, and I can delete layers. Sorry, I did this by mouse button. Okay, good. Usually I don't use layers. What I do is I try to organize everything by groups here in the outliner, which is more convenient. Good, so this is regarding the channel box. You have some things here that you can check it later on. History must be on, as I said. And then the layer editor, also some kind of indications of how to use the layer editor. You'll find it here. Okay, good. There are 2 more things that I want to show you. Hope rotate scale, you know already. Plane selection tool, selection mask, we saw it. I'm going to talk about the attribute editor, where you have it under here. Let's go for the outliner. So page number 10 is the attribute editor. So these 3 icons, these 3 menus here, they are quite useful. Okay, so attribute editor, channel box, which is the one I showed you, and tool settings. Okay, tool settings, it will change according to which tool you have. You will see how it's changing. Let's start with the attribute editor. The attribute editor will show you all the parameters and all the characteristics of the object that you have been created. Okay, so it was a polycube. There are some things with the display. If you have any renders associated, it will give it to you here. How are the mesh controls? Everything you will get in the two first tabs, everything you have been doing after all, it will appear here. You have some kind of transformation or some tools also, it will be a new tab for each of them. And usually when you go all the way to the right, you have the shader. Okay, so any material you have applied to that, you will find it always using these arrows, and all the way to the right you will find it. Okay, pretty much that's is that. We will get into that as soon as we start doing some rendering and some kind of manipulation with the geometries. Okay, the other one I want to show you is the tool settings, and then we will start showing you the some of these things like sub selection and snap points and everything. Before I go into the tool settings, I want to show you the last thing. So far we were working with objects, we're working with hierarchies. So if I select two objects and I do group, I am doing group. So basically those are these three icons we have here. Okay, so you can work with objects. So I'm selecting objects. If you switch to this, you are selecting hierarchies. So you see when you click, always Maya try to select the higher hierarchy. So this one is higher than just the objects. Okay, usually you don't do that. Usually you're always working in object mode, and then when you want to select the group, you go to the outliner, or there's another trick, which is another shortcut, which is you select one object and you press the arrow up in your keyboard and you select group. Arrow down, you go to the object. Arrow up, you go to the upper hierarchy, which is the group. And there is a third thing, which is the component. When you select components, in this case we are selecting vertices, but basically we go through the components of the objects. Usually you don't go here, so keep it under objects, and then what we do is, for instance, we go to any object, right mouse button, and then we select object mode, which is object, the one that we are right now. Edges, so you can select any edge of the object. Wait, I'm gonna reset the tool because for some reason it's not moving. You know, I can move the edge. I can do right mouse button vertex, and then I don't know, I can move these vertices. I can go right mouse button faces, and I can select the faces. This is, you know, now we start mixing what I wanted to show you, the components together with the tool settings. So basically every command that you're using, scale, rotate, or move, it has a specific tool settings, which is this icon here. Okay, in this case you see that the move is always oriented to wall, but you can change the orientation. You can say to object, or also there is another way sometimes, and it doesn't recognize the object because we freeze transformation, so it doesn't know how it was at the beginning. You also, by, you know, you want to move, for instance, and you hold D, you can reorient this thing. So if I say align and I click to the face, I can put it perpendicular to that and start moving the face perpendicular to the normal. Okay, so as I said, three main things for polygons: faces, vertices, or edge. Okay, you can select all of them, and you can start, you know, you can start scaling the edges, you can start rotating them, and rotating, so now it works. Okay, and you're gonna start manipulating pretty much the objects. As you can see, you can do the same with objects, or you can do the same with the components. The rotation, as you can see, I'm doing some kind of steps. So this one you have it for everything. You can do step snaps, relative, as I have it, or by default you can have off. If you want to reset your tools, you can click reset tool. That's how it's coming by default. We can go under step snaps, and I can say relative, and I can say, okay, rotate 90 degrees every time. So exactly, you see. Or I can go to off, and then if I press W, you see this is changing. So every of this command has a different tool. You can say, look, relative, move 1 unit every time. You see, it's kind of jumping. And I can say off. Another way of selecting the components is you can do right mouse button, or you can use the shortcuts. The shortcut, you have it under select, components, you can have it here. So basically, we know that F8, what you have here is object, and then you can have vertices, edge, face. The other ones you are not going to use it now. Okay, so if I select the object, F8 is object mode, F9 is vertices, F10 is faces, edges, and F11 is faces. Okay, I can select some faces, and now with control I can deselect some faces. Okay, with shift I can invert selections, or I can toggle selections, and with control shift I can keep on adding selection. There is nothing else, which is the one I skip, which is this pen selection tool. With the pen selection tool, basically you get like a brush. I'm gonna reset this tool. You get this brush, and then you can select, or if you hold Control, you can kind of paint this selection, these select things. Okay, it's quite convenient. Holding B like Barcelona and middle mouse button, B, you hold B, middle mouse button, you go left or right, you can resize this radius. Also, you can do it here. Okay, and then you get bigger or smaller one in order to keep on a selection. Once I have all these selection, I can convert the selection also. You can go under Select, Convert Selections. So you have faces, you can convert to vertices by holding Control and then, you know, the key that we were having the shortcut for it. So you can do Control F9 for vertices, Control F10 for edges, Control F11 for faces. So if I do now Control F9, I'm getting all these vertices. Something I wanted to show you, under Move, you have something here which is called Soft Selection. Okay, when you enable Soft Selection, I'm gonna reset that. Basically, you get this grading. Okay, again with B like Barcelona and middle mouse button, you can control this follow radius. Okay, what this does is, if I move these vertices, if just hitting B1, you enable or disable soft selection. So if you don't have it, if I move these vertices, they will go along. Okay, just like that. If I hold, I'm gonna do Control C. If I enable the soft selection with B, and then I'm gonna click this follow radio, you will see that the yellow vertices are moving more, the other one less. So I'm getting this gradient moving these things. Okay, this is the soft selection. I will show you more utilities for this. Once you finish, please uncheck it to be sure that you don't keep on doing this thing. The other thing I wanted to show you, you have it also in the soft selection. The other thing you have also there is the idea of snapping things. The pane, I'll show you already. I'm missing the lasso selection and this thing. You can snap component. Okay, so when we did, remember when we're snapping objects with the holding file, we can do the same with vertices. So if I select all these vertices, under Move Snap Settings, you see by default you have this retain component spacing. So if I want to move all these vertices, I want to snap, if I hold file, I can snap with any of these vertices. You see they all keep, no matter what I do, they all keep the distance between them. Let's say that I want to make this part flat. So in the X value, I want to have all the vertices within the same level. I can just release this thing, hold file, and now just drag from one axis. I will, they will all snap and they will all get the same value for the X axis. So all this area will get flat. Okay, this is quite convenient, and for some things it's quite useful. Imagine when you press 3, you get move preview 3, and sometimes it's nice to get scenarios which are completely flat. Press 1, press 3. If you want to show you in the other one. For the geometry, also we can press 3 and we get something which will look a little bit better. After doing all these things, you want to bring it back to what it was, always reset tool. Good. So this is that. Move Snap Setting. Something that I skipped at the beginning is this idea of the lasso selection. So just to finish the hotbox, we did selection, paint tool that you have already, scale, move, rotate, and then this lasso selection, which usually is not so common that people use it, but you can do this lasso selection. Everything that the lasso touch is being selected. As I said, most of the time you don't use that. Okay, let me just go through that quickly. I mean, you can read carefully all the PDF because most of the things you have it there. Okay, if I'm skipping anything, you just can send me an email and ask me about that. Okay, yeah, I think we have pretty much everything done. Okay, good. Remember, especially get used to the pivot point, center pivot, D and file, and snap these to some vertices. It's not the idea of moving between object mode and the components mode, and also the idea of working with groups and keeping your outliner quite organized. I think it will be very helpful if you start being rigorous with your Maya files. Okay, thank you.